Can't move these days. Speaking of, we just walked for 10 minutes looking for a Bible in Glebe, and we could not find a single copy,
That's right.
except for the King James Version.
Which is how it should be. That's
Glebe Books. Had to I shit you not, dig through shit to find.
Yeah, they're trying to hide the truth from our children.
They really are.
Yeah,
they take away our medicine and feed us poison.
That's exactly right.
They feed us soy milk.
Yeah.
And
soy milk and Richard Dawkins, I think.
Richard Dawkins, evolution.
Evolution propaganda.
Yeah. Which is all that soy is.
Yeah, that's true. I think if you drink enough soy, you might start to believe in evolution.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, heaven forbid.
No. Wouldn't wish that fate on anyone.
Alright, so what are we talking about today?
This is my friend Nick. Have we introduced you?
Not in this take.
Okay, sorry, second take. This is my friend Nick.
Hey,
Nick is a very talented bluegrass and Irish folk musician. Or some adjacent branch of music.
Yeah.
And Nick is also on his way to becoming a reverend.
Maybe. I'm in the very early stages of
he's dipping his toes in.
Considering I'm discerning.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're trying to discern if you're legit.
If I'm legit. Yep.
Cap. So
yep, that's exactly right. Legit or cap. Well, I'll say I've been involved with the Uniting Church for a couple of years. I before that I was a Catholic and I'm baptized Catholic. So sort of grew up in that tradition, but my parents weren't particularly religious. So I sort of found my own way to faith in my teen years. Started off as a traditionalist Catholic, if you will, and then found my way to a slightly more progressive church, who I'm currently working for at the moment. Yeah. Yeah,
great. Doing mission work.
Kind of, yeah.
Helping out crims.
Yeah, and property management, really
so true.
Ordinary stuff, yeah.
Yeah, people don't think of priests as doing the logistics of church, but it's someone's got to do that.
That's true, yeah. I mean, ministers in the Uniting Church are often doing 70% admin and property development and stuff.
Yeah, okay, so today we bring to you the Gospel of St. John.
Mm-hmm.
What is there to say about this? This Gospel is not like the others. It's not like the synoptic. So the synoptic means sin, optic, looking the same, or having the same perspective. Mark, Matthew, and Luke. I don't know if it's in that order, but those Gospels kind of are sort of more historical, chronological, chronicling. Whereas John is kind of more about Christology, so proving that Jesus was God and not just a perfect dude. John is pretty structured. It's got seven miracles, seven I am statements. I don't know, numbers, crunching, and John is really just about kind of fleshing out more of the sort of theological aspects of Jesus's life and ministry. And I don't know, there's some speculation as to whether John was written before or after the Synoptic Gospels, because a lot of people are I don't know, Matthew, Mark, Luke, they all kind of knew about the other people who were writing at the time, but the Johannine community that John came from didn't seem to know about these either earlier or later writers. So there's a few sort of chronological, sort of historical debates over where John actually fits in. Yeah.
Do you have an opinion on that?
I don't know, but I think it's great that they wrote it down.
I just think it's nice. I think it's neat. Yeah.
Because a lot of people right after Jesus's life were we're going to get what do you call it when they beam them up?
Oh, raptured?
Yeah, we're going to be raptured within 50 years of now. Jesus is going to come back really, really soon.
Yeah.
2,000 years later, still waiting.
Yeah, still waiting.
Like, don't know. Just when's he gonna pull through?
Hey, any day now.
Any day now. Anyway, I'm not jinxing it.
Yeah, no. Fingers
either
crossed.
way.
Touch wood.
Either way, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like there wasn't really a need to write down a lot of the scripture. Like a lot of early church practices were kind of like more oral based. But then like someone decided to write it down, and here we are reading it.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so do you want to read out like one verse at a time?
Totally.
And I'll like mispronounce a lot of Greek words.
Yeah, cool. I'm excited to hear you speak ancient Greek. I haven't heard that yet.
To start speaking tongues.
Yeah. It's cool.
Start babbling. Okay.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
En ἀρχῇ en o logos, kai o logos, en pros ton theon, kai theos, en o logos. It was like a lot of this is like catered towards Gentiles.
Yeah.
Sort of like the wider pagan Greek audience. So the word ἀρχῇ in Greek has like a lot of connotations around like politics, because politics is, so ἀρχῇ means beginning, and basically politics for Greek was like beginning after you have all of the sort of like requirements of your household tied down. So like,
interesting.
For them, politics was like separate from economy, but politics was basically like ἀρχῇ, like beginning, and
cool.
It kind of has that connotation. Logos, well, I mean that's just like logic.
Yep.
The word. But yeah, in the Bible, the Koine generally refers to Jesus as being like the word, capital W.
Very cool. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made.
Panta di auton ἐγένετο kai hωρις auton ἐγένετο oўδὲ en o gέgonεν.
In him was life, and the life was the light of men.
En aŭtō zoe en kai he zoe en to phos ton ἀνθρώπων.
And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. What do you think it means for the darkness not to comprehend the light?
That is so crazy. Well, the darkness is like pure negation. Kind of like just, I don't know. It's hard to think in negative space.
Sure. I've also heard a lot of people talk about the darkness in this context representing evil. And there's a very easy conclusion to draw there that evil can't really understand good. And I think that is true.
Yeah, no, I like that they kind of like, because I don't think they...
Tell me what the Greek word for darkness
Skotía
is, and it really just translates to...
like, it just means darkness, but it's kind of like cognate with skion, which is like shade.
Okay, so does darkness in Greek have the same kind of moral implication that it does in English?
Yeah, so it's associated with wickedness and resultant misery in hell.
Cool.
Yeah, I like that they kind of like attach epistemological connotations in the translation. And it's kind of like, like there's something about sin and also like doing good things, doing good works that results a lot from like knowledge.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, I don't know, a cognitive grasp of ethics or whatever, as
Very
opposed
cool.
to a practical one.
There was a man sent from God whose name was John.
So interesting in that one is ἀπεσταλμένος, which comes from apostello. So this happens, this word appears a lot in, well, I guess like all of the different gospels, but basically it just means to like send something away from you. So the word apostle comes from apostelos, which means like to send away or to drive away.
I guess that's what it means to be like apostate, right, in the Catholic Church.
True.
Yeah.
But it's also like, there's like apostate, which means that you're like driven out of the church.
Yeah.
But then there's the apostles who are like...
Yeah, sent away with a purpose,
fathers.
right? Yeah.
The literal
With a mission.
founders of the church.
Yeah.
And it's like later on when the Pharisees were like, oh, we have to like answer to the people who sent us, like the people who deployed us on this mission to get, intelligence.
Yeah.
To do some spy work.
Yeah.
They're like, we've been ăpεσταλμένος, like we've been like driven away or like sent away, and now we gotta bring shit back.
Yep. Cool.
What else is there? ἰωάννης. That means John.
John, yeah. So we'll do 7.
7.
The same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe.
Autos elthen is martyrion ina martu rene rese peri tu photos ina pantes pistusosin di aŭtοῦ. Martyre, which is where the word martyr comes from.
Interesting.
But here it means to bear witness.
Gotcha, right. And we'll do the next one, which goes with it. That was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world.
In Greek, the word for truth is aletheia or alethinon, which, as people might have like remembered from earlier episodes, we like talked about ancient Greek and stuff, and how like the Greek word for truth is basically a negative. So it's a, which means non or un.
Interesting.
Letheia, which means concealed. So the Greeks had an understanding of truth as like this unconcealing, as like kind of like making unconcealed what was previously hidden. So yeah, like already it kind of has connotations of like revelation and like, showing your hand to the people.
Again, light here, especially with that capitalization, really has that connotation of being this all-encompassing good force, right? That and it shines out in every direction. I think it really I think that's really what is meant there, is it's just this this force that illuminates everything in its path.
Right. And that behaves in a different sort of like physics.
And I think
other kinds of
I
don't know, entities.
And I think it is just really interesting thinking about the physical properties of light and darkness, where it's like as soon as you turn a light on in a room, all the darkness vanishes, right? It's just gone. It's not like if you make, it's not like if you have like red food coloring and blue food coloring and you mix them together and you get green food coloring, right? There's no mix. It's just the light is totalizing, right?
Totally, yeah.
And I think the fact that, light is capitalized and darkness isn't is really powerful to me as well.
Totally. There's a sort of like element of like light having this almost like contradictory property where it's kind of like it can fill a room but still leave it empty.
Yeah, for sure.
It just means that there's no darkness.
Yeah, it's not really filling it with anything that you can feel or touch out necessarily.
Right, with like extended sort of like extension and like solidity.
Yeah, but it's something that is there, and I think that that's a perfect way to think of God.
Yeah, as kind of like this permeating. Like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I like the gestures. Yeah. That's
sometimes you have to like perform.
That was very like Trumpian. Yeah. It's like I've got another light. It fills it. It's an all-encompassing room. Yeah.
And some people would say the same of me.
Yeah. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name. We'll do 13. Which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God.
Awesome.
Can you tell me about blood and flesh in Greek?
Blood is, I'm pretty sure it's like It
Yeah.
comes from the same root word as like hemoglobin.
Hemoglobin, yeah.
Hemoglobin.
Yeah.
That's such a satisfying.
Oh, such a, this
Hemoglobin.
is going to
An
sound...
Australian accent.
With it, hemoglobin, yeah. Hemoglobin. That was like my favorite word when I was like 7. Like I really remember just like...
Really?
Yeah, because like I used to look in the dictionary to find rude words and stuff.
That's awesome.
And I found hemoglobin and I was just like, I was blown away.
Damn.
It was awesome.
It's even better than mitochondria?
I think so.
Hemoglobin, yeah.
But something about globin, I don't think there's really anything else in the English language that sounds like that.
Right.
Globin.
It's the like most beautiful word.
It's the most beautiful word. It's like cellar door.
It's like cellar door.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. TSLE was wrong. Cellar door is not the most beautiful word.
Yeah.
It's hemoglobin.
It's hemoglobin. Like it's just beautiful. I'm
Someone's gonna make like a compilation later, like an edit of just us saying hemoglobin.
Hemoglobin. If you believe in Catholic theology, you believe that you're literally partaking in flesh and blood every week, and that's
what do you call the cracker biscuits?
The communion
The
wafers.
communion.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That communion is literally the body of Christ.
Yeah, and it's like the most important sacrament there is. Yeah.
And I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
How this I don't know, guy from the Middle East tastes like white bread.
Well, I guess he can taste like whatever he wants.
Do you think people from different races would taste differently, like if you were a cannibal?
Oh, wow. Yeah, surely.
Maybe.
I think so. I think just, because if you're from a different part of the world, you just have a different
diet.
I
think a really sensitive cannibal would be able to discern.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's your next guest on the podcast. I know a guy.
A really
discerning,
cultured
picky eater.
Yeah, picky eater.
Yeah. I think, like diet would have a huge effect on how a person would taste. So depending on where they're from.
So true.
Yeah. I mean, on that note, kind of interesting. I thought you were going to ask, do you think people in different parts of the world have different types of communion, which is true.
Do they?
Different types of bread, just whatever is local and easy to make. So I know in some parts of the world, communion wafers will be made of like rice or different types of grains and Yeah, it's
like how far can you stretch the communion, like the definition of communion? Like when does it stop being, like does it have to be carb based?
I think so. I mean,
it has to be a kind of grain.
I think it has to be a grain. I mean, I guess within the Catholic Church, I'm guessing that that's their position, is that it has to be a type of grain. It has to be
kind of bread.
But I know that like with Protestants, it's really common to just have like grape juice instead of wine, right?
Right.
Which is
because they don't believe in communion anyway.
Well, they believe in it as like symbolic.
Yeah.
It's
they're better with the metaphorical thinking.
Yeah. They just don't believe it's actual blood because they don't believe in the sacrament.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know, can a chicken nugget be a kind of communion?
Like I think if you have like a
probably got enough bread in it.
Look, I think if you're doing like a faith gathering or something, and it's not within a church or anything, it's just like a home church and it's a bunch of friends, I'm sure you can do that and say this is symbolic of the body of Christ. But I think that's something that is so obviously in origin from a chicken, it's probably a little more of a leap to say that it is literally the body of a man. Doesn't make sense.
No.
Doesn't make sense.
It's more likely, so you're saying it's more likely for bread to be the body of a man than for
I think so.
Chicken?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It has to be some percentile,
some percentage. Well, I think the idea is, because someone asked him if you could bless the ocean and turn it into holy water, and he said, well, in the Catholic Church, I think you have to be able to literally bless 50% of it. Like it needs to be in a vessel.
Right.
I think. But then if you add that 50% to another 49%, the whole thing would become holy water.
Holy shit.
So I think if you like poured holy water into vessels of increasing size, you could eventually, and it would be
hypothetically you could bless the entire ocean.
Exactly, and it would be exponential growth, of course,
right.
Because it would be
you just need to find a vessel big enough to have like 50% of the content of the ocean.
50.0001% of the ocean.
Right.
Which is insane, but could be done. I believe that it could be done. And I think that a holy ocean,
a cross-continental vessel for holy water,
I think that would have very strong implications for the fate of the world.
Absolutely.
I think that's important.
We gotta do it.
Well, I can't do it, but maybe the Pope can. So 15. John bare witness of him, and cried, saying, "This was he of whom I spake. He that cometh after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. And of his fullness have we all received, and grace for grace. For the law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ." So that's 15 to 17.
Mm-hmm.
So, what have we got there?
We've got... so the law was given through Moses, and grace and truth were realized through Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that juxtaposition?
I think that's really interesting. I think that is probably a foundational point for a lot of Christian anti-Semitism.
True.
But I also think that it's really just speaks to what Christ means, right? There was a period where there was law, and there was a lot of arguing about law and stuff. Yeah. And then there was a period where, after that, where there was love and there was grace and there was truth. And I think that's really beautiful. I think that's really powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
No man hath seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, which is in the bosom of the Father, he hath declared him. And this is the record of John, when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who art thou?" And he confessed and denied not, but confessed, "I am not the Christ."
Confessed. The Greek translation is homologos, which
like
is really funny.
like hermeneutics, right?
No, like homologos.
Oh, homo, not homo. Yeah, interesting.
The gay word.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what confession is.
I guess
no, homo
makes
means the
perfect
same.
sense. Yeah.
It just means agreement.
Yeah.
Testimony, martyria. So again, martyrdom, testimony, witnessing, all connected. John the Baptist. What do you know about John the Baptist?
There's one of my favorite paintings is a painting of it's called John the Baptist and the Infant Christ with a shell, and it's the two of them as little kids and they're playing with a seashell. It's so cute. It's from the 1700s. It's adorable. I love it so much.
There was a funny bit where the Greek word is cognate with kek, like Kekistan. But I cannot find it.
That's funny.
The word cry appears a few times in this as well. And in the Greek it's different words.
Yeah.
And I think one of the first time it's used is translated as kekroi, which means to croak.
Oh, interesting.
So
is that a
if you think about Kekistan, about your
it's
frog.
frog. Yeah. Wow.
So John the Apostle was a frog. Like an online frog. Think about it.
Wow. That's crazy. I'm thinking about it. That's crazy. Did you come up with that? That's crazy. That's so interesting.
That's wow. Well, I came up with the interpretation.
Yeah.
That is the word in the Bible.
Man, that's crazy. There you go.
It's a frog.
Cool. People ask me if I'm Greek all the time.
You do
For
have
some
that
reason,
Mediterranean phenotype.
People always think I'm Greek or Italian. They're always really disappointed that I'm not. But maybe I could learn some ancient Greek and then maybe
Chinese algorithmically analyzing your face now to diagnose your ancestry.
You had Chinese powers.
I've got the Chinese lasers.
Oh yeah. Wow, that's awesome. You might be you're the only Greek speaking Chinese person I know. I don't think that's a really common. Yeah.
No, that is not a common.
That's you'd be such a perfect Bexley resident.
Wow.
That's the demographic there is
Greeks and like
half Chinese and half Greek. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know, someone's got to go be the, you know, middleman.
Yeah. I think it's you. It's gonna be you. Greek is really interesting. I think light is really powerful, and darkness is ultimately really weak in comparison. I think it was really interesting talking about flesh and blood and how maybe we have a tendency to devalue those a little bit.
Totally.
It's not the worst thing in the world, right?
It's not the worst thing in the world. Because Jesus was also flesh and blood.
Yeah. And I'm really keen to do some more research into what I could call communion. There's so many possibilities.
Absolutely.
A McDouble. Could a McDouble be communion? Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. A hash brown. I don't know.
I think a hash brown is like.
Do you think potato-based products can count as? It's not a grain. And I think the grain is sort of symbolic, right? There's a lot of
I think so.
Bible passages. Obviously, there's a lot of that in the Bible, right?
Totally.
The parable of the sower and
They were a farming
but
society.
potatoes were not around.
Can hunter-gatherers be Christians?
No.
No,
absolutely not.
Got anything you want to plug?
I think at the moment you can check out my band Gushing Neckwound.
Gushing Neckwound.
That's my metal/hardcore band.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so check out Gushing Neckwound.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, can't wait to get that on the Spotify and just
100%. Yeah. Blast it. Rock out. Just like that.
Headbang.
Just like that. That's it. Oh my gosh. It's
open
crazy.
up the pit.
The pit. Open up this pit.
In my room.
Oh wow. It was crazy.